All right, welcome into SportsBit Betting Insight today, Thursday, May 5th. Pauly and Teddy on SBRpicks.com. Deep dive, college football, baby. We got some openers from 5 dimes. We'll get to that. And big game breakdown, just one game in the NBA, 2 baseball games we'll throw at you. Of course, the play of the day. We start with bad beats and bad bets. How about bad bets? The Hawks and the under. Atlanta never in the game. The Cavs set the record for most three-pointers in NBA history. 25 three-pointers. Teddy, they had 23s with 9 minutes left in the third quarter.
And if you remember, when we previewed this series, we got a couple of quotes from Atlanta players talking about, hey, Cleveland's got shooters. It's not always easy to match up against shooters. But how about this? The Cavs score 1.56 points per possession in the first half. That means every time they had the ball, they averaged more than a point and a half. That is a first half NBA playoff record. That's how efficient they were on offense. And obviously, when your offense is setting a first half NBA playoff record and you're putting 73 up before halftime, the under is not a real good bet at all.
Oh, God, 74-38 at the half. You're right. That was an ambush and an avalanche of threes. Normally, because you saw it with San Antonio and OKC, game 1, game 2, normally you'd look to the dog and Atlanta to turn it around Friday night. No way. They've lost 9 in a row to this team. They can't beat the Cavs.
And remember, there wasn't even a starter in the game from the middle of the third quarter on.
Good point.
And, you know, when you read some of those Hawks for them, this is something we talked about on yesterday's SportsBit. Look, Cleveland's not the team that they were in the regular season right now. You know, Cleveland all of a sudden, you know, they've hit that switch. They've morphed. They're on. And from a confidence standpoint, Atlanta just doesn't match up with them. And it really is that simple right now in this series.
Yep, more bad bets. How about the Astros? They finally did it, Teddy. That is called a winning streak. That's 2 in a row, but it took them 28 games to do it.
We got to give them a moment of silence. The Houston Astros have a 2-game winning streak. Yeah, but of course, last year, let's not forget, last year, it took them 12 games to win 2 in a row. But as soon as they won 2 in a row, they went 12-1 their next 13. They actually go and went 14-1 over a 15-game span. So might be something to note with the Astros. Of course, they have faced the right opponent in the hapless Minnesota Twins.
All right, yep, excellent point there. How about the Giants? Another bad bet. Peavy lit up again against the Reds.
Yeah, Peavy, I mean, he's 6-0 to the over. He gave up 4 dingers yesterday. He has only 4 ground ball outs in his last 2 starts combined. You looking for a pitcher to fade? Let's see. He's allowed an MLB high 47 hits on the season. He has an MLB high ERA of 9 on the season. And yes, the Giants are favored in some of his games because San Fran's a pretty good team. And also, yes, the Reds bullpen did give up a run for the 22nd consecutive game.
That's incredible. Hey, they bet against the Cubs again. What are they doing? Lester, no problem. 6-2. Get out the broom in Pittsburgh.
Oh, my God. And I love the they, you know, because it is. It's a they. It's a, you know, what's the appropriate way to describe who they are? They are shadowy betting figures who are in the midst of, you know, fairly significant syndicates. They, whoever they as individuals are, as a group, they're betting against the Cubs day after day. You know, oh, there's value on the other side. Knock yourself out, guys.
Yeah, right.
The squares are beating the pants off the sharps when it comes to Chicago Cubs baseball this year, and I expect that to continue. I really do. This Cubs team, they're special, Pauly. They are.
No doubt about that. We'll get to the Cubs coming up in big game breakdown. How about the Diamondbacks and the Marlins?
Oh, bad beat if you had the over in that game. And, of course, you know, I mean, it's easy for me to laugh when I didn't have the over in that game. But you get what you want. You want to go against the starters? All right. You got Jose Fernandez and Ruby De La Rosa. You're like, all right, this is my chance. You got those two are supposed to be the good guys, and the bullpen's supposed to give everything up. So the 2 starters combined to give up 7 runs in 4.5. Neither guy gets a quality start. Neither guy gets out of the 6th. And then nothing the rest of the way. Bullpen shut him down. Stays under 7.5. That one's brutal.
One more bad beat. When you rock King Felix and you get 8 runs off him, you're supposed to win that game. The A's bullpen imploded.
Yeah. Dahl, Doolittle, and Axford all got hit hard. That sounds like a bad law firm. You know.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm a member of Doolittle and Axford. Please, if you have injuries, call me. But it's, you know, that's tough. You get 8 runs off King Felix and you lose the game. Seattle's playing good baseball. They're finding ways right now.
All right, let's all cheer. College football lines on the board. Virgin lines from 5 dimes, but it's early, Teddy. And you know what? I can't make a move till I read the Phil Steele magazine.
Yeah, I mean, look, when we have virgin lines for a sport as important as college football, I like to talk about them on the show. I think it's important. We're going to go into a deep dive and bring all the lines that have been put up for week 1. Not a ton of analysis because we don't have enough analysis. And we'll talk about that later in the show as well. But virgin lines, man, college football numbers. You love it. The enthusiasm has to be there, even though, yeah, we're talking about the first week of May.
Yeah. How do you compare it to when NFL numbers are released?
NFL numbers, it seems like NFL numbers are year-round right now. Their numbers out real early. But how do you compare it to? I mean, I tend to do more NFL work earlier than college work. Therefore, I pay more attention to the NFL numbers. But, again, we'll talk about all this in the deep dive in just a few minutes.
That's coming up. Up next, big game breakdown. We'll start with the only NBA playoff game. Can Miami go up 2-0 on the road against Toronto? That's coming up on SportsBit. Betting Insight today on SBRPicks.com. All right, big game breakdown. Live odds up at sportsbookreview.com. Game 2, Miami at Toronto. Raptors 4.5, 188.5 at the total. And it certainly helps to have Dwayne Wade, who's cool under pressure. He was awesome on Tuesday night. 24 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists, and 3 steals. We're going to continue to put this graphic up and drive it home because DeRozan and Lowry not getting it done, especially Lowry. You look at this graphic in the playoffs, DeRozan's 53 of 160 from the field. He's 3 of 18 from 3. Lowry's 34 of 111 and 8 of 50 from 3. Combined, they're 32% all field goals, and they're 16% from 3, Teddy.
Yeah, that's a rough start to the playoffs, putting it mildly. And, of course, they're still 4-4 in the postseason, despite those horrific numbers. And despite the fact that Lowry and DeRozan are the 2 key guys on the team. The front court's played well. The bench has played well enough. And of course, they got Indiana in the first round, who wasn't any good either. But here against Miami, it's obviously a different animal. You talked about Wade. And we kind of had issues with Miami and their end game in Game 1 with Deng making a couple of bad decisions with the basketball, trying to inbound the ball and the like. But the one thing that we didn't talk about, and I felt like I missed it, on the show 2 days ago when we talked about the game as in a recap fashion. I think I missed the fact that, look, even after Miami took that punch and they took the half-court heave, they still came out in the overtime and took control of the game right there and didn't let that. They took a punch and they punched back. That's veteran leadership. But, of course, when it comes to Kyle Lowry, this is a guy, if you've done a lot of reading on Lowry, I'm not going to say a head case, but he's kind of a head case. And when he's confident, he's amazing.
Yeah.
When he's not confident, you start to see stretches like this. He stayed in the arena until almost 1 o'clock in the morning after the loss, just to put up more shots. You got that quote? It's a really good quote because it kind of brings up some of the stuff that you were saying the other night, Paul.
Yeah, he's running away from the ball. He doesn't want any shots. Remember what he said last year about, he said he cursed in there about all eyes are on you and it stinks that it's the playoffs and I'm playing like this. But he said last year the performance against Washington really motivated him because he was so bad when they were swept. Well, he's been horrible.
Well, here's his quote. It sucks that I'm playing this bad when all eyes are on me because I know I'm way better than this. So I've got to pick this shit up. I passed up a lot of shots tonight. I passed up a ton of shots actually.
Yeah.
I think that's what this shooting skid did to me a little bit. But here's the question, Paul. Mm-hmm. Because really, obviously DeRozan and Lowry are in nasty, nasty slumps. Lowry in particular has been abysmal. But is it a slump? Is it confidence? Or is there a fatigue factor that we need to be aware of with these 2 guys?
That could be it because they really had to go through 7 games against the Pacers, and Game 7 came down to the final possession while Miami had an easy time of it and blew out Charlotte, and the game was over in the first quarter. I also think they don't trust their teammates for whatever reason. It's a pretty good supporting cast in Toronto. And I remember I said this before the series. I did not like Lowry's comment about, I want DeRozan to empty the clip and shoot as many times as possible. Also, career starts after May 5th in their career. 0. I don't like what they're doing and how they're taking all these bad shots, and they don't getting their teammates involved as well. Valanciunas was great in Game 1. Give him some more touches.
He's got plenty of touches, but the fatigue factor is real here, Paul. I genuinely think it is, because you mentioned 0 career games started after May 5th for Lowry, 0 for DeRozan. Lowry did play 6 games as a reserve with the Rockets back in 2009. This is his 10th NBA season, Kyle Lowry, and he just played his second highest minutes count. So we got an older guy playing a ton of minutes. He was number 2 to James Harden in minutes per game. DeRozan, number 9 in minutes per game. So these guys have had a ton of minutes this year. They have a much tougher Game 7 on Sunday than the Heat. And you wonder if there's a cumulative effect that really carries over here. But for Miami, Paul, the question comes down to, do the Heat bring proper focus? Because so many times when a road team wins that Game 1, they have a tendency to feel like it's mission accomplished.
Not this team. Veteran group, as you mentioned. I love how they responded in overtime after Lowry hit the 3 from half court. This team won't do it. And they also know this. Here's a prediction. If Toronto loses tonight, it's 1-2-3 Cancun. They'll go to Miami and they will get blown out. Just like last year when they lost the first 2 at home against the Wizards and were swept and didn't play any defense. Miami will go in for the kill and it'll be a short series. Hey, who knows? We could be looking at 2 sweeps in the Eastern Conference and a lot of off time.
Well, that's so funny because we were talking about what these great second-round series are going to be and all of that, and now, maybe not so much.
Yep. All right, we continue with Major League Baseball. How about this matchup? Nationals and the Cubs. Ross against Hendricks. Cubs $1.40. 19-8 against 20-6. And maybe Harper found his groove, Teddy, last night in Kansas City. Well, afternoon. 2 for 4 with a home run and 2 RBIs. Maybe he can get going in this series. Great matchup.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he had a really rough start to that road trip. What was he? 1 for 20 with 10 strikeouts in the first 5 games of the trip. But as you mentioned, a home run and 2 ribbies in KC yesterday. But, you got Max Scherzer, you got Steven Strasburg. Those are the big names for Washington. But, man, if you haven't seen this young Joe Ross play, Tyson Ross's kid brother, he doesn't turn 23 for 2 more weeks. He's been the best Washington pitcher this season. Better than Scherzer. Better than Strasburg. 3-0, 0.79. The Nats are 4-0 in his 4 starts. They're plus 16 runs in those starts. And you know where they got him from? This one that just cracks me up. They stole him from the Padres in that Will Myers trade, the 3-team deal. The San Diego front office did not have a good 2014/15 offseason. Man, they made a bunch of bad deals. And Ross, this kid does look like an ace, Paul.
Hey, play along with me here. So the Cubs go into St. Louis and take 2 out of 3. They just swept the Pirates. What if they sweep the Nationals? I mean, what? There's no telling how high these prices are going to be.
There are, and they merit being that high. That's the thing, is that but at the same time, every time the books are putting up the numbers that look to me to be reasonable, or maybe a notch or 2 even low, there's a group out there that says, no, this is too high, and they're going to come in and bet the other side. But, and the Cubs can win this game in so many different ways, of course. We have Ross being great for Washington, but the problem faced by all the Washington starters, whether Papelbon can protect the game for them. We love making fun of Papelbon on the show because he's an idiot. What's he getting? 8.3 swinging strike percentage this season. That's a career number of 13.2. He was at 12.4 last year. Now he's at 8.3. People aren't missing his fastball that much, only averaging 90.8 mph on that fastball so far this season.
Yep. Once again, liveoddsportsbookreview.com. Yankees and Orioles, Tanaka against Gausman. Orioles $1.15, 7.5 the total. No A-Rod, but doesn't matter. 5 home runs. He's hitting a .194, 20 strikeouts in 80 plate appearances. The walk rate, strikeout rate, highest of his career. Pitchers not afraid of this guy, Teddy.
No, but the pitchers aren't afraid of any part of the Yankees lineup. It is what it is right now, which is a team that's going to have to scratch out runs. But they are still getting steady work out of Masahiro Tanaka. He's only 1-0, but he's got an ERA under 3. The FIP is under 3 as well. 5 starts this season. They've all been pretty good. The 59.6 ground ball rate is a career high. The advanced metric numbers like that. So Tanaka's pretty good, but maybe it's time to start taking this promise that Kevin Gausman's been showing or hinting at in recent seasons. Start taking that promise real seriously, Paul.
You think so? Why is that?
Well, we're talking about a guy who was a number 4 overall pick in 2012. All right. He was injured to start the season, but he had a real good appearance at AAA. In 2 starts so far, he's got as many strikeouts as hits and walks allowed combined. And here's the other number you want to know about. I know we said that you're not going to make a lot of money with the fastball hurlers, and you won't once they're known as being aces. But his fastballs average 95.6 mph. And of those with enough innings to qualify, only Syndergaard, Eovaldi, and Richards have been faster. He's really throwing some heat.
Up next, deep dive, week 1 lines from 5 Dimes, college football, and the play of the day on SportsBit. Betting Insight today. We're back on SportsBit. Deep dive tomorrow. We preview the Kentucky Derby today. College football, Teddy. Week 1 lines. How about it?
That's awesome. It really is awesome. But let's be honest about this, Pauly. People are sick of seeing your ugly mug. People are sick of seeing my ugly mug. And we don't want to see pictures of sweaty athletes. Let's show those cheerleaders, baby. This is going to be the hottest, or shouldn't say that, the most beautiful women that we've ever had on SportsBit. And they're coming up right here, Paul. Let's get to those virgin numbers, the very first numbers in the world up for week 1 in college football from 5 Dimes.
Well, we both love the get-out game and staying up late and watching Hawaii play. Well, how about this? Saturday, August 27th, Cal 21.5 against Hawaii from Sydney, Australia.
Yeah, and honestly, I don't know if that's going to be one of those games that we have to wake up early for, we're going to stay up late for, but the meat of the college football schedule, all the rest of the college football schedules doesn't start till the following week. So having that one early game should be a lot of fun. Of course, You're going to be a premium to lay with the Bears in that one. Let's run through some lines. South Carolina, look at these cheerleaders. That's nice. Don't look at me. South Carolina -3 at Vanderbilt. Also worth noting, all of these lines at 5 Dimes because it's so early. -120. There's 40 cents juice on these, unfortunately.
Yeah, these 2 games are Thursday, September 1st. Also, that was South Carolina game. Also, Minnesota 6 against Oregon State. Friday, you got Stanford 18.5 at home against Kansas State, and Colorado's 5 against Colorado State and Denver.
Yeah, and then, of course, we've got a game in Ireland on Saturday.
Yeah.
That one's going to be real early. I know that's a 7:30 a.m. Pacific time start. Georgia Tech 2.5 over Boston College. And then we got the marquee matchups. Let's do it. Auburn +9.5 against Clemson. The Tigers favored over the Tigers.
Teddy, how about these matchups in the first week? This is oh my God.
That's a great game.
Yeah.
And I'm a little bit surprised at that number. That Clemson's laying so much over Auburn. But again, when it comes to, we'll talk about it in a minute. Let's run through these numbers first. But forget about me. Look at the Auburn cheerleaders.
North Carolina, Georgia. Georgia 4.5. And here's another great matchup. Should be 2 top 10 teams. Oklahoma laying 7.5 at Houston.
Yeah, and Houston, not a team that has gotten a ton of early respect from the one book that put up numbers. What else have we got? We got West Virginia 7 over Missouri. We got LSU against Wisconsin in Green Bay. LSU 8.5-point road chalk there, but forget about the team. Look at those cheerleaders. Gosh, are we dirty old men now or what?
Nice job, SEC. The game's in Lambeau Field. Play somebody. Why isn't that game in Madison? I mean, this conference refuses to play true road games. Give me a break. BYU 1.5 at Arizona and Glendale. And this is another great game. In College Station, Texas A&M 3 against UCLA.
And these cheerleaders were so hot. We got both sides. Yeah. Alabama -13 in Arlington at Jerry's World against USC. Which one do you want first? The Bama cheerleaders? The USC cheerleaders? Pick your poison. Poison's the wrong word.
Yeah, no. USC, I'll go with USC on that one. Washington, a big number, 20.5 against Rutgers. That wraps up Saturday. Sunday, another one. Notre Dame, 6 against Texas.
Yeah. Oh, look at those Longhorn gals. Gosh. I am a dirty old man. That's ridiculous. Florida State, -8.5 over Ole Miss in Orlando on Monday. That's Labor Day, I believe, Monday, September 5th.
Yep.
And that's what we have for the openers. But we still got that Ole Miss cheerleaders. Those Ole Miss cheerleaders to look at. Goodness. All right. Let's talk about college football. How do we approach these numbers, Paul?
Well, as I said earlier, I'm gonna wait till I get the Phil Steele book because I don't know what the hell's going on this early. And also, I mean, there's nothing settled. Who even knows who's going to win these starting jobs till August?
And that's the key point. You know, there's a reason that I do my NFL work before I do my college work. May, for me, is an NFL month. And by the end of May, I'm up to speed, hopefully, on all 32 NFL teams and feel pretty good about them going into camp. That being said, the reason that I do that work in May on the NFL is because after free agency and after the draft, the NFL rosters, you got a pretty good idea who's going to be where. The coaching staffs are, what the depth charts look like, and the movement that happens in training camp, relatively minor. In college football, by the time you get to fall camp, everything you read in spring practice is done.
Yep.
It's gone. It's obsolete. Everything you read in your magazines is obsolete because there are so many jobs up for grabs, and not just quarterback jobs, and you don't know who's going to win that, but who's going to win the left tackle job, and which speedy wide receiver just got hurt and he's got a bad hammy and he's going to be injured all season. All that stuff is readily available to find in August, and you can find a ton of great info in August when you look online, when you do your research, when you read your local papers, when you take advantage of the beat writers that follow this team every day. But to do that in May, it's too early. You're just going to put a lot of work in for stuff that changes. So these college football openers are really fun to talk about. I didn't bet a one of them, Paul. I didn't even think about it.
And rest assured, there'll be over 100 suspensions as well, whether it's ganja, alcohol.
I'm taking the over 100.
Right? Well, yeah, you're right. There'll be plenty of suspensions and key games too. How about Oklahoma's schedule? At Houston to start, then Louisiana Monroe, Ohio State at home, at TCU, and then they play Texas. That's to start the season. Holy cow.
Yeah, Big Game Bob's going to have some big games early on.
Yep, Boise State, easy schedule. Really, it's a joke this year. That's something they maybe check out Boise State over the total. And they don't play much of a schedule in the Mountain West. A couple things there that I noticed so far. But I can't believe that's that first week, all the marquee games on college football. All right.
Sure you can. You can believe it.
No, I've never seen a schedule like that. Come on. Look at those marquee games in the first week. That's crazy.
That's good. That's good news for us. Marquee games, just good matchups. I don't want to be trying to handicap your Oklahoma versus Louisiana Monroe. They're hard handicaps. Geez, they're laying 38. How long Stoops going to keep the starters in, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
The mismatches don't interest me from a betting standpoint. The competitive games, in theory, often interest me from a betting standpoint. I love this card. It's exciting to talk about. It's time for the play of the day.
All right, where are we going, Teddy?
Yeah, exactly. College football talk. Well, and we promise football every day. Play of the day has nothing to do with football. Let's go back to Major League Baseball, a game that we talked about earlier on the show with the Yankees and the Baltimore Orioles. Game number 915, 916. Let's take the Yanks and the Orioles under 7.5. Of course, Tanaka carried a shutout into the bottom of the seventh at Fenway in his last outing.
Yeah.
He got a no decision. He's going to be hungry to get back on the hill tonight. We like these bullpens. We don't like particularly the Yankees lineup, and both these starters look like bet-on guys. Yeah, Yankees, Orioles, under 7.5. That's our play of the day.
All right, Pauly and Teddy, thanks for the spike in views. Thanks for watching. We're back tomorrow. Kentucky Derby on SportsBit. Betting insight today on SBRpicks.com.